Muttonistas, welcome to another football vlog. I'm in Germany. I'm actually in Dusseldorf at the moment, and the team we are playing tonight is Borussia Dortmund. However, it's not far away, and Dusseldorf's old town has a lot to offer. City need a point tonight, in my opinion, or a win to be mathematically certain, to win their group in the 2022-23 Champions League. So join me for today's matchday vlog of Manchester City away at Borussia Dortmund. Well, Muttonistas, for all my travel, Germany is a place I haven't been to that often and I know very little about. Fortunately, one of my viewers, Steve, who's come all the way over from the US, waving in the background, knows a little bit about German food, about the German language, and I think we might have found a little gem for our pre-match food segment. Now, I'll come to the football a bit later, Metanistas. The food is the important thing for the time being, and thankfully my friend Steve does know a little bit about this style of food. We are at the Füchschen Brewery, please excuse my pronunciation, and what they do here, which is quite interesting, is that they serve the beers in very small glasses, a bit like a Spanish caña. We've gone for the local beer as recommended by the waiter, and just like in Spain, they mark down the number of beers you have on the beer mat. So we've over ordered. Never happens on the Primemutton channel, does it? But we're going to give you a good spread and a selection of foods, which for me are actually going to be not quite new, but a bit of a discovery for me. And for some of you Muttonistas, probably a bit new. Anyway, let's get on with the food. Cheers to
Cheers.
City. Of course, given the name, we are drinking at a brewery, at their tap room, and we are eating there as well, of course. Rather unusually for Germany, and I didn't know you could do this, we are actually standing whilst we eat. So that's first for me in Germany. As you all well know, Mutanistas, I love doing that in Spain. And the beer we're drinking is called the Alt beer, obviously the speciality of the brewery, an old beer. It goes without saying that the dishes were hearty and plentiful. We had a pork knuckle with knödel or nodel, which are dumplings, and the ubiquitous sauerkraut, a wurst of some sort of sausage made from pork, with broad beans or butter beans and mash. And finally, well, I guess it's Austrian, not German, a schnitzel with a mushroom sauce and sautéed potatoes. Now, those of you who watch my vlog from Wrocław in Poland will have seen the pork knuckle on my vlog there. It did used to be part of Germany years ago, so no surprises there's a similarity in the cuisine. Anyway, it's done slightly differently here, and my carvery skills were not up to much. There was a very thick layer of fatty, crunchy crackling, and the meat was pretty moist, as was the case for the schnitzel, which was rather thickly cut, which was unusual, but a very juicy piece of meat. And I really loved the sauerkraut here. It was less pickled than in Poland, so it gets the nod for me. All of which, of course, merited a quick slurp, and that dark alt beer really did grow on me. Muttonistas, we did a decent job here. We couldn't finish all of that, of course. There was enough food for four. But it was a great pre-match meal, and we ate about over half of it. I am struggling to decide which was my favourite dish because I quite liked all of them, really. Loved the sausage. The schnitzel was, again, very tender and juicy, a bit thick cut, and the sauce and the potatoes, great. Did you have a favourite there, Steve?
It's always hard to go against the pork knuckle, as you say.
Indeed, yeah.
The other dishes were excellent, but the pork knuckle, that was number one.
And I would say that the fat and crackling was much more tender than the Polish version I had. And German cuisine often gets a bit of a bad rap, cited as being bland, stodgy and heavy, but I have to say, particularly for UK viewers, I thought that was rather flavoursome and beats meat and two veg British style by a country mile. Okay, sorry if I've disappointed some of you who like to wave the flag a lot, but it is actually true. So, food over, we've come down to the riverside for a drink and it's time to talk football. And rather than sticking on that alt beer, that dark beer, just gone for a raw Steiner, a blonde one. Quick slurp before we start talking football. Now, those of you who saw the Copenhagen vlog will have seen that I was a bit worried about that result in terms of finishing top of the group. Thankfully, Seville managed to get a draw at Dortmund, and there's still business to be done here tonight. We don't want a difficult draw against the Real Madrids and Bayerns of this world, so we really want to win this group. And we need at least a point tonight, or a game in which we don't lose by 2 and score. So I'm hoping we play our strongest lineup tonight because this is important. And we have got the players to beat Dortmund even if away. So I'm hoping that starting 11, our strongest team, doesn't include Mr. Mahrez, but I'm hopeful that that's not the case because he played the whole of the last game and certain other players in the midfield either didn't start or came off. Anyway, I'm pretty positive about tonight. I think City are going to win. I think they might concede a goal, but 3-1 is my prediction.
I think we agree on that. We both think 3-1. And the question is, how many will Haaland score? Will it be a solitary goal or will it be all three?
I think 2. I'm going to hedge my bets there.
We can do 2.
Anyway, the atmosphere is supposedly cracking there. It's a really big game for them, so it's probably going to be the full 80,000 there. So let's hope there's a good game with a great level of noise from the crowd, but most of all, that City win.
Can you eat anything else?
Could do.
All right, I'm going to get you a frikadelle.
Ja, dann.
One thing that amazed me about the Dortmund ground is that we were welcome in all of the home fan areas, and I treated myself to a typical pre-match snack, a frikadelle or sausage burger. Well, as usual, I've waited for that evil anthem to finish, and I went for the safe standing area today, and it's proved to be anything other than that. And I forgot to mention, actually, I'll reserve keepers in. I'm not really sure this is the right game to play it in.
Brilliant. Fantastic. Splendid.
Wow, what a stupid turnover that was. They had a man over there, they should have played it to him, that was a lucky escape. Half an hour in and City are a bit lukewarm today. They've had a few chances, but they've given away a couple of big ones. As far as this stadium's concerned, I'm terrified if we score because we'll all go surging forward. Not really safe standing, in my opinion. Offside anyway, terrible miss, but we're having a lot of problems defending on our left and Dortmund's right. So at half time it's Dortmund 0, City 0, and I have to say I'm quite happy with that. Firstly because City was second best, also because I was in the aisle and I felt extremely unsafe had City scored. I've moved to a better place now, but I don't feel that safe. Barriers and fences at the front, it feels very 80s, and I'd be delighted with a 0-0 draw because we're all going to go flying if City scores. This is absolutely not what I anticipated from safe standing. And as for the football itself, well, this experimental lineup, I'm not sure it's working that well. It hasn't been terrible, but Dortmund usually gives a good game, and today's no exception. I think Guardiola's playing with fire, but then again, what do I know? Mahrez. Well, another penalty to City and another missable one by Mahrez. Haaland's been taken off. Come on, Red, for once, score one that's important. Oh no, not again. Mahrez again, for crying out loud. How many is he going to miss? The Dortmund defender probably thought it was a safe bet to foul him, knowing he was going to miss the penalty. A ball! One ball! On. Oh. Go on. Oh. Well, Muttonistas, a very brief post-match wrap. Not the greatest of games. There was some excitement and Dortmund did get down our right side a little bit. But in the second half, the addition of Bernardo meant City got a grip on the midfield and got a grip of the game. I think the 0-0 kind of suited both sides. We won the group, they made sure they came second and qualified for the last 16. I think I've said enough about Mahrez and his penalty, so I want to turn my attention to the matchday experience. There were a lot of very good things. Okay, the bad thing, I've already said it about the terracing not being as safe as it might be in my opinion because there were too many people in there. But the whole matchday experience and the interaction with the local people, whether it be barmen, restaurateurs, people on trains, people at the game, was fantastic, and the Dortmund fans themselves were the most wonderful fans that I've ever met. Before the game, we could access all of the food and drink areas that the home fans could. Then on the concourse, such a wide variety of snacks and beers and soft drinks. And then after the game, we weren't held back, which is wonderful. This group has been incredible. 20 minutes in Seville, nothing in Copenhagen, and nothing here. And finally, I was allowed into the bar and beer garden nearest to the ground. Very, very few grounds would allow away fans in colours into these places. And many a Dortmund fan would come up to me for a friendly chat about the game and football in general. This is how football should be, and I wish it were the case more often, but sadly it often isn't. So coming to a match at Dortmund with that massive yellow wall is quite an experience. They look after the visitors as well as any team I've met. So if you get the chance to come here, don't pass it up. Anyway, I'm going to have to love you and leave you. Next football vlog will be at home to Seville in a week's time. But until then, keep liking, keep sharing, keep subscribing. And of course, most of all, don't forget, you can't beat a bit of mutton.